Hello and welcome to Cryptic Change. Today we're going to be looking at the Acryptos ACSI Finance protocol, which have a lot of multi-coin vault where you can invest just a single coin and spread your funds across several different projects, so that it's basically like investing in a crypto hedge fund where everything is automated for you and you double up on the percentages you earn. But before we start all that, I want to make clear that this is not my first video on Acryptos. I already made another tutorial where I explained their vaults and how you can make a lot of profits by staking in all these various pools. And full disclosure, someone from the Acryptos team actually liked this video so much that they reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in making another video about ACSI for a little compensation, which I'm only too happy to do as I'm a big fan of the protocol anyway. But I also have to make the obligatory warnings. I know it's a bit boring if you heard all this before, but still it's very important because there are, after all, a lot of risks in here, and there's many mistakes you can make along the way, so it's very important that you watch the whole video all the way through, and of course remember to hit that like and subscribe button. And when you're dealing with these multi-coin pools, it means the chance of a permanent loss is amplified, and of course there's also the risks of someone hacking the protocol or finding some way to exploit it, and even, God forbid, the dreaded rug pull. So as the saying goes, no risk, no reward. So you can make a lot of money in this, but just know what you're getting into, and as always, never ever invest more than you can afford to lose. And just like my previous Cryptos tutorial, what we're going to be needing for this one is also three things. First of all, you have to have MetaMask installed and configured, and then you have to add the Binance Smart Chain, and also you have to transfer some BNB onto your MetaMask wallet. And if all that went way over your head, I also have another video where I show you just how to do this in easy to follow steps. So if this is totally new to you, I highly recommend that you watch that one first, just so that you know what the hell you're doing here. But with all that out of the way, let's get to it. And the very first thing you gotta do, as always, is to connect your wallet. So you see this little button up here, connect wallet, click that and select MetaMask. Boom. Now I'm connected. You see my address up here, and you also see some vaults, which I have some tiny investments in over here. And even though I already went through the vaults in my earlier tutorial, this is also where I'll start in this one. But this time I want to head on over to the ACSI section. And here you see a whole bunch of different vaults, all consisting of multiple coins. And all of these have various purposes. So for example, this vault right here is what you would call an Ethereum killer, consisting of Sol, ADA and BNB, all pooled together to give you a very nice 24% interest. So if you want to invest in these coins and diversify your funds without having to invest in the Sol, ADA and all of these separately, you can just enter this one with a single transaction and have your money automatically divided between each one. And we have a whole bunch of others here. For example, the BTC, ETH, BNB vault, which are currently the top 3 coins, which also means that this would be a much safer investment than some of the other ones that has a lot of more shady ass coins. But then also here we have a stablecoin vault with BUSD, USDT, DAI and USDC. And since these are all pegged to the dollar, that means they are very secure bets. And you also earn a very nice 23% interest, which will be almost doubled up in the next step I'm about to show you. So up till now, this has been pretty similar to what I showed in my previous tutorial, where you can pretty much just choose any single token vault and start depositing right away. But the difference in ACSI is that before you can actually deposit any funds, you have to create some liquidity pool tokens. And while there are also some dual coin vaults in the ACS section that require you to create LP tokens, those are actually more complicated, as they first of all require you to have the correct amount of each token and go to an external platform to swap and go back again, blah blah blah. But here on ACSI, you only need one of these coins to join into the pool, and you can create the LP tokens internally on the ACSI platform. So if we, for example, wanted to invest in this basically meme vault of Dodge, Shiba, Tesla, and BTC, all we would do would be to click that, and then you could always try to hit stake, but you would get a message saying, gotta get your tokens first. Okay, and luckily there's also a button right beneath it which says get your tokens here. So we're gonna click that, and that's gonna take us right into the separate ACSI platform. And immediately you can see you get a little warning here. Price information is missing from this pool since it contains a token not found by our price provider. Not a big deal, because the really interesting information is all down below here. Here we can see the current volume in this pool. You can see how much has been traded in the last 24 hours. Oh, that's almost nothing. You can see the fees in the 24 hours, also very little. And the APR. Wow. That's really nice. And that's a great thing about pools with really low volume, as they can often give you really good yield. But it gets even better than that. And this is what I mentioned earlier, because when we create these liquidity pool tokens, we're going to be making this percentage and then that percentage on top of that. So that all ends up being quite a hefty yield. But first, of course, we've got to create these LP tokens. So let's go back to the ACSI platform. And if we scroll down here, we can also see a little bit of how much is already invested of each one. We can see the percentage that, oh, it's 40% Dodge, 40% Shiba, and etc. And below here, we can also see the previous transactions. So we can see someone withdrew this much 18 hours ago, someone withdrew that much 22 hours ago, etc. But then onto the really interesting part, which is when we're going to be entering this pool ourselves. And contrary to what you might be used to in other such pools, where you would actually have to have all these tokens in your wallet, the great thing about this platform is that all that is automated. So all you need is one of these and it will divide it up all for you. So in my wallet at the current time, I have a whopping 0.03 BNB. This is almost nothing, but it doesn't matter. This is just a small demo, so it works for our purposes. And I will take a little bit of this and swap it over to any of these. Let's say I will go with the BTCB. I'll then click here, swap. I'll first try to find the BTCB here. There it is. And then I have to select how much I should swap. So let's see here, 0.01, that's $5. Yeah, I can afford that, I guess. But you just got to remember, you should never spend all your BNB. You always have to have a little bit left there just to be able to afford the fees. But anyway, $5 worth of BNB swapped over to BTCB. Okay, review this. It's going to give you a proposed transaction with what you'll be swapping and what you'll be getting. And then the really interesting stuff is, of course, how much you'll be paying in fees. So here it says estimated network fee is 0.5. So that's not a lot, or a maximum $1. So yeah, we're going to accept this, swap it. It's going to process it. See the fox dance a little bit. And remember that old song about what the fox says. Now, the transaction has been completed, and we have now a whopping 0.00084 BTCB in your account. So we're going to close that and scroll down. What do you know? Here we have that right here. And now you can also see it showed up here. It says now my balance is 0.0001 and I'm able to invest this. So I'm going to click max here. And again, you can always check here how much this actually is. And then if you've ever tampered with DeFi before, you should be no strangers to all the proving and confirmations you need. So we've got to click that first. And here again, a little fee, $0.13. Okay, confirm that stuff. Gonna wait for it. We also see the little transaction running over here. And there it is, confirmed. Great stuff. And now a very common mistake is to think that, oh, I just invested it. No, you didn't. You just approved it. You always got to remember that. The first thing is always to approve. Now you can invest it. So I'm going to click that again. And again, it's going to say how much it will cost. Not that much. Confirm it. Again, we got to wait. And there, your investment has settled. Ah, yeah. That's great. I'm going to close this one and close this one. And now, if we scroll down here again, you can see the deposit I just made down here. Less than a minute ago, it says. And also, if I were to click the withdraw button over here, you can see how this money has been divided up. So I now have 29 Shiba. I have basically 0 BTCB and 7 Dodge and yeah, a tiny bit of Tesla too. And already we will be starting to making this very nice percent of this. But of course, we're not done yet, because now we just created the liquidity pool tokens, and then we got to go back over to a Cryptos. And now, as you can see here, this money is turned green, which means we are able to stake it. So we're going to click that. It's going to ask us, how much do you want to stake? And as I am such a high roller, I am going to be spending all the $5. Woo, crazy. So this is 78 Dogelon tokens. Before I click stake, I just want to make you aware of the little fee here for harvesting. It is 0.06 ACSI. And if we want to check out how much this actually is, we can always go over to CoinGecko and search up ACSI. There we are. And the great thing about CoinGecko is, of course, that every token has this neat little calculator here. So we're going to click in 0.06 ACSI, and it says, oh, what you'll be paying is $0.2 in fees for harvesting. That seems quite reasonable, so yeah, we're gonna be doing that. Stake that baby, come on. And we're gonna get the pop-up here. Are you sure you want to do this? And again, it's gonna ask us for a teeny tiny bit of fees. Alright, confirm that too. I mean, It does kind of suck to pay all these fees over and over again, but remember, a lot of these are just for approving, so you just have to pay them the first time you do this, and also they are minuscule compared to what you would be paying over at the Ethereum network. So here, now we have approved it, now we can finally confirm it once again, and let's just wait a little bit. And there we go. The color just changed to blue over here, which means it is staked, and we will immediately be starting to make some really nice yield on these babies. Here we see we will be making 289%, and you can also see how these will be divided up. So we will be making an 18% for our Dogelon, and then also a 230% for our ACSI, in addition to the 136% over here. So all in all, it racks up into several $100%. As this was just $5, it doesn't amount to anything, but if you were to add a little bit more, it would quickly rack up into a lot of money. And also below here, you see the ACSI boost, which means that in addition to that, it will also boost it by 1.12 times. And this can even be amplified if you were to deposit more ACSI tokens. So the more of these babies you have deposited, the higher this number down here will go, up to a max of 2.5 times, which means you'll be making much more of this ACSI. And now you see it says 1.12 over here, but if I were to deposit more ACSI, that number below there, future boost, would rise. And then you can also click this force button to add to this multiplication. So anytime you enter extra ACSI into the ACSI pool, you want to go check all the other vaults and see if it affects the future boost. And if so, click the force to get more money out of this. But then you also got to remember that this ACSI is actually not compounded. So you actually got to harvest it regularly and then either swap it around and reinvest it, or maybe even put it into this vault over here. And to harvest this ACSI, you also have to pay a little fee. And like I showed earlier, this actually costs 0.06 ACSI. And since I don't have that yet, the harvest button is not there yet. But if I were to go to some of the other vaults which I have invested in, like for example, let's see, maybe this one. Yeah, here we go. Here I have 0.07 ACS, which is a total of $1, guys. So I have the harvest button here, which I could click, and the fee would be 0.03 ACS. So it's totally not worth it to do it right now since I have only this amount, but I'll still do it for you just to show you how it's done. So what you're gonna do is, of course, just click this harvest button and then harvest. You're gonna get another pop-up from MetaMask as always. You gotta confirm that baby too, and then wait for it. And since this is an ACS vault, I'll be harvesting some ACS tokens. And if you watch over here, you can soon see this color will turn green. There you go. Which means I now have some extra ACS, which can be deposited into this vault. Or I could also go up here in my MetaMask and swap it around to something else, or send it somewhere, or basically do whatever I want with it. And another thing I want to show you is that just like the other ACS vaults, you can always check this little dot here, which keeps growing to show you just how much ACSI you have pending in each pool. So as you can see here, it's just a tiny dot, but it will grow little by little, and after a while it will look like this whole corn here, which means it is ripe for the plucking. Again, it depends on how much you actually deposit, how much you're going to be making here, but I like to just check them once a week and do the harvesting and reinvesting and maybe shuffle them a little bit about, which has turned into a nice Friday ritual for me. But then I also have to show you how you can actually withdraw from these funds. So if you made a little bit of money and you say, that's it, I want to get out of here. Okay, let's unstake this baby. It's going to say it's going to cost you a little bit of fees. Okay, let's do that. So we're going to click unstake here. Again, it's going to ask you to confirm. And now the number turned green here, which means it's out of the vault. And then you might think, oh, I just withdrew my money. But you didn't, because it's still actually connected into Liquidity Pool token. So then you got to click here again, get Dodge Shiba, blah, blah, blah. It'll take you back to the ACSI finance page. And now we can see the same window as before. But of course, we're going to hit withdraw. It's going to ask you how much do you want to withdraw. You have the option to withdraw all of some of it by adjusting this tiny little button here. Still just $5. So yeah, let's just take all of it out. We're going to get this pop-up once again. Confirm that baby. And we're waiting for it. And there's the confirmation. So my withdrawal has settled. But now comes the interesting part, because as you remember, I originally only deposited BTCB, but now as I withdrew, it doesn't give me back the same amount in BTCB, but it has automatically divided up into a little bit of Shiba, a little bit of BTCB, some Dodge, and a tiny bit of M-Tesla. So now if I were to gather this again, I would have to swap each of them over to, let's say, for example, BNB before I could do something new with them once again. And the great way to do that is if you look over here, they also have a trading tab. And if you click that, you will be taken in here where you can swap all kinds of tokens around if you would not want to use the built-in MetaMask swapping function. And this confused me a little bit because that is eerily similar to their own separate stable swap. And though there's a whole lot more tokens you can swap around in the trading function, the stable swap function basically is the same thing, just with much fewer coins. So why have both of these? But there's a good reason for that, because if we go back to the list of vaults and scroll all the way down to the bottom and direct your attention over to these ones down here, which you can see have slightly different colors than all the others above. And the reason for that is because these are a little bit different, as they are on the stable swap page and not on the ACSI finance page. So I'll show you just how that works. If you click one of that, you can also try to stake here. It says, oh, you got to get your tokens first. And if you click that here, it takes you onto this little stable swap where you can basically do the same thing, deposit all your money if you should have any of them here. And it works in the same way. You first got to deposit here and then you got to stake it. So now you know how to invest in any of these vaults. We can also take a short look at what other kinds of vaults there are. One of them is kind of special with 2 different iterations of BTC, which will give you a very nice 15%. And if we were to check the actual liquidity pool tokens, you can see you'll be making an additional 15% there, which racks up into a total of a real nice 30%. And since the REN BTC is of course pegged to the BTC, this would be quite a great interest to earn on your BTC, and also it would be a pretty safe bet. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of others here. I don't even know what Hot Cross or Bog or Feed or Swing Bee Helmet is. I don't know any of these. So you're going to have to read up on them yourself if you want to invest. And now that you know how to use the ACS Finance, the only thing that's left is to remind you once again to click that like and subscribe button and keep coming back, because I'll keep making these tutorials. But that's all I have for you today, my cryptic friends.